Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our training today. What brings us together is the overwhelming amount of trash the world creates and the dangers it poses for our health and the environment, and how by being better at the bin, we can all help to address this problem. In 2018, Mayor London Breed announced two new waste goals for San Francisco to meet by 2030. The first goal is to reduce disposal to landfill and incineration by 50%. The second goal is to reduce municipal solid waste generation by 15%. This goal includes reducing recycling and composting volumes along with the trash, and aims to get people to use more reusable items instead of single-use disposables. Along with these goals, back in 2009, San Francisco passed a mandatory recycling and composting ordinance that requires everyone who lives or works in San Francisco to properly sort their trash, recycling, and compost. We have an audit team who goes out and checks to see if apartment buildings, offices, and businesses are properly sorting. If we find continuous contamination issues, there could be charges added to the account. Contamination is when items are put into the wrong bins. For example, a banana peel would be considered contamination in the trash and recycling bins. So what items should we be putting into each of the bins? For the recycling bin, the main message here is clean, dry, and loose. We use these materials to make new products, so we want them to be as clean as possible. Here are some items you can put into the recycling. Clean paper, such as paper bags, newspapers, and cardboard. Your metal cans, such as soda cans. Aluminum foil can also be recycled. You can scrunch up the foil into a baseball-sized shape and toss it into the bin along with your glass bottles and jars. In San Francisco, any rigid or hard plastic can go into the recycling, such as your laundry detergent jugs and your plastic takeout containers. We also now recycle milk cartons, ice cream tubs, paper cups, and aseptic containers such as juice boxes. Contamination, or what does not belong in the recycling, would be items such as food and liquids. Make sure to empty your soda cans in the sink and empty your food into the compost before recycling your containers. Any food or liquids that get onto the clean paper that's also in your recycling bin will start to decompose it and make it non-recyclable. Other contaminants would be loose plastic bags, as these can jam the sorting equipment. Make sure to place loose plastic bags in the trash. Food sold paper such as pizza boxes and paper plates belong in the compost. And again, recyclables bagged in plastic bags would be contamination in the recycling. Here we have a recycling bin that has some contamination. There's some food which should have gone into the compost, some liquid that has spilled onto the clean paper. The liquids should have been emptied in the sink before the bottle was recycled. The paper towel and the paper bowl should have gone into the compost as well. Remember not to put your recycling in plastic bags, and make sure to break down your cardboard boxes to make room for all of your other recyclables. If your recycling bins are overflowing and the lids can't be closed properly, let your property management team or your manager know to see if additional service days or bins can be added. Moving on to the compost bin. The finished compost is used by farmers to help grow healthy fruits and vegetables. You can put any of your food scraps, meats, bones, eggshells all in the compost, along with food sold paper such as pizza boxes, paper coffee filters, paper plates, and paper takeout boxes. Any tissues, napkins, or paper towels all belong in the compost because the paper fibers are too short for us to recycle into new paper. Untreated wood such as wooden toothpicks and coffee stirrers, or your chopsticks from your takeout, also belong in the compost, along with any of your yard trimmings and flowers. We also accept clearly labeled compostable plastics. On cups, they will generally have a green stripe with the word compostable marked on them. When using compostable bags for your compost, make sure each bag says the word compostable on it before placing into the compost. Items of contamination in the compost would be things like glass, plastics, and metal. Make sure to keep these items out of your compost bin. Here's the compost bin with a lot of contamination. The glass bottles should have been recycled. The plastic bag belongs in the trash. The rigid plastic container, aluminum foil, and the metal lids should have all been recycled as well. And lastly, we have the trash bin. Very few items in San Francisco actually go into the trash. Most items can either be recycled or composted. Here are some items you can put into the trash: loose plastic bags, chip bags, snack wrappers, and condiment packets, broken ceramic pots or dishes, diapers and pet waste, styrofoam, toothpaste tubes, and latex gloves. Contamination in the trash would be anything that should have gone into the recycling or compost bins. Here we have two trickier items. On the left-hand side, you see a common mailer envelope with bubble wrap on the inside and paper on the outside. This has two different materials fused together and unfortunately goes into the trash. The mailer envelopes with plastic on the outside and bubble wrap on the inside are also two different types of plastic fused together and would go into the trash as well. On the right-hand side, you see a hot sandwich wrapper that is shiny on the inside, paper on the outside, and likely some plastic fused in there. This would go into the trash as well. With the current pandemic, we're wearing a lot more personal protective equipment. Your disposable face masks, latex gloves, and disinfectant wipes cannot be recycled or composted and must go into the trash. Here we have a trash bin with some contamination. The clean newspaper should have been recycled. All of the food should have been emptied out into the compost bin. The rigid plastic container, aluminum foil, egg carton, and that plastic yogurt tub should have gone into the recycling as well. For packaged foods, make sure to empty the food into the compost, and then depending on the packaging, if it's a rigid plastic container, that can be recycled, or if it's a plastic bag like this bag of peppers, the bag would go into the trash. There are also some items that do not belong in the trash, recycling, or compost bins. One of those would be hazardous waste, such as paint, light bulbs, chemicals, motor oil, batteries, or e-waste. Many hardware stores can accept hazardous waste, or they can be dropped off at our hazardous waste facility. Make sure to check the hardware store website or our Recology website to see if there are any restrictions on drop-off before heading out. For residential or apartment buildings, if you have bulky items such as a couch or a desk, you can schedule to have that picked up through our bulky item recycling program. Check out our website to learn more about this program. A few simple everyday actions can really have a positive impact. If you practice these 4 better at the bin actions at home or at work, it will get your waste started off on a contamination-free journey to be reprocessed. Empty liquids from your cans and bottles before recycling them. Empty the food from your recyclable containers into the compost before placing the containers in the recycling. Compost your food scraps and food sold paper, such as paper towels. And don't use plastic bags to bag your recyclables. For more detailed sorting information, posters, and flyers, visit betteratthebin.com or recologysf.com. If you'd like to become a zero waste champion for your apartment or office building, email us at wastezerosf@recology.com for more information. If you need to get a hold of our customer service department, you can email them at customerservice@recologysf.com. We have a short quiz below this video where you can test your knowledge and see if you become better at the bin. There's also a survey link if you'd like to provide any feedback about this training. Thank you very much for attending this training. Being better at the bin is better for our future.